Hey guys, in this video we would like to give you a quick update on our cinematic tools and the progress we've made taking the tools from the original Ori game and significantly revamping them to be able to produce all of our in-game cinematics, boss fights, any of those smaller interactive sequences, potentially even NPC encounters, all within one really streamlined system that focuses on integrating all of our different tools and features features of our pipelines into one previewable interactive iteration tool, right? Because the biggest problem is how do we allow artists to be fast and efficient at getting the content to that quality level that they need? Because usually if you create stuff in the engine, you have to go ahead and set something up. You have to hit play, wait 10 seconds for something to happen. And if you're looking at an at a sequence such as the trailer, for instance, or one of the cinematics, you would have to wait for the right moment in the sequence to happen for you to be able to evaluate how the animation and the art and the camera and all of the other tons and tons of layers of polish, how they all interact so that you can get a good result, right? So timeline is it was designed to solve all of that. It's designed to allow basically having sort of like interactive, almost like After Effects approach, but to a video game engine content that's simulated and interactive and content that is not predefined necessarily, such as physics and stuff like that. And we just basically wanted to tie it all together into one super easy to use system. So if you think about it, we have the teaser trailer. It's built out of multiple shots, and here you can see all of those shots are actually loaded into memory at once, and I can very quickly jump here between any of the shots and jump into any point in the shot. And you can see as I jump into any point in the shot, all of the shot actual details such as particles, environmental animation for the wind, the trails, the depth of field. I mean, absolutely the animations of the characters, absolutely everything is previewable and gets into the right state. So basically, I'm able to put the engine into the right state for what should happen in that frame with absolute 100% predictability. An artist can go ahead and pose on a certain frame and go ahead and adjust the set dressing or adjust how the art looks, and the animators can go ahead and adjust the animations. If I want to take a look at this guy, for instance, how it animates, I can really look at that guy and sort of like scrub this area or focus on the timeline of this area and preview it and get this animation perfect. Then the artist can go ahead and adjust the blob shadow under this guy and make sure that the blob shadow is looks absolutely good on this log. And the other artist can go ahead and adjust the lighting on this character to make sure that the lighting works really well so that the character is integrated into the environment really well. And somebody that works in the visual effects of something like this leaf could go ahead and adjust the trail on the leaf that's dynamically generated, by the way, simulated based on the animation of the vertices of this object, right? And all of that is basically this huge integration between all of these different systems that we have, and it ties it together and allows a very direct control, like very quick iteration on anything, absolutely. So for instance, if we go into opening shot and we want to wait for the leaves to start falling and the wind start blowing, I can go ahead and adjust the particles and just re-scrub this and immediately see, or just hit play, right, and immediately see the effect, immediately see exactly how the particles react when the wind starts blowing, and all of that is animated. The particle parameters are animated, and I can preview all of it pretty much immediately and adjust it. If I go here, we can take a look at the depth of field animation where the background comes out of focus and the foreground comes into focus, and that's all animated, and I can control that. So for instance, if I want to expand that and I go into depth of field and I go ahead into seeing this depth of field, I see, okay, well, here is when this depth of field setting kicks in. I have a curve for it and I can animate. I say, well, let's say that I want this depth of field setting to kick in a bit later. I can do that. I can do this like that, and then you can see that it takes longer for it to kick in. Or if I can go ahead and say, okay, I want to adjust the depth of field curve, and I potentially want to make the environment even blurrier. You can see I can go ahead and adjust it, and boom, I preview it. I just made the whole thing a lot blurrier. If that's what I wanted, you can see how quickly something like this can be done, and the content is being serialized, and then basically you commit it to RSVN, and you can immediately make tweaks like that otherwise would be very difficult to navigate, find those right objects or whatever. Another thing is physics. We have our own custom Verlet solver, and it's being applied at the tentacles of this big creature, and the physics is simulated basically in real time, with the timeline, with being able to sample it, with being able to go backwards and forwards, because we have pretty smart solution for caching and how we allow making it predictable, and allow iteration on the physics right in the engine without ever hitting play, which is remarkable because usually these systems take a long time to develop because how tight they are, how difficult they are to fine tune, how many parameters there are, and how sensible they are. And here, because everything is so fast, you just tweak the parameter, you see how it behaves, and you adjust it, and in 5 minutes you can get a pretty nice, satisfying physical behavior. The same thing again for the trails on these guys. The same thing for motion blur that is happening while the camera is moving. You can see the motion blur in the camera, you can see the motion blur in the characters, and all of those settings. And the light, for instance, if I want to adjust the way the light behaves, or if I go into this scene, again, see how the depth of field is shifting from the center layer, the foreground into the background. I can go ahead and adjust the lighting effects. I can go ahead and adjust the way the light affects the surfaces. You can see how the smoke and the fire is being taken out by the rain. You can see how the rain intensifies and gets thicker, and all of that is or the clouds become animated a lot more. You have all of these zippy lighting effects on top of the clouds that start appearing. The lighting affects the clouds. And you can see the clouds are calmer here, and they sort of like build up like this. So all of this, this crazy layered sequence with a lot of atmospheric effects also that come in. The environmental animation, you can see that the wind intensifies from this shot to this shot, to this part of the shot, and all of it is basically completely previewable, right? So if I want to go into the lighting effects or the effects for, you can adjust the particles or adjust all the rain, the rain effects, or the clouds, or this effect. See how even when I pause the frame, I can adjust the animation that happens on these clouds, because this is a shader animation, completely free from the CPU standpoint. So it's very easy to set up, it's very easy to adjust. It's done in our shader framework. So our shader framework, with all of its environmental animation, because you can see the environment moving and the particles even being animated with the shaders. When the frame is frozen, you can go ahead and adjust all of that, and it still completely integrates with the timeline. Super convenient. And here, if you go into this shot, you can see that we are also integrating all this with the 3D characters that are and the lighting effects affect the characters, and all of that is previewable. You can go ahead and adjust the shader, light the character nicely. You can adjust effects like the glow on the eyes. That if you can see the glow on the eyes, basically it doesn't exist here, but it enables here. Or when Ku blinks, you can see that the glow actually disappears, and that's all animated through the timeline. Those simple little touches that you can add very quickly are extremely important for the 100% of polish that we're going for. But you may need to make it easy to do that stuff. You need to make it easy to be able to iterate like this. And you can see that the scene has variation in color because it's the very moody environment. So you can see that different parts of the scene get brighter and darker. You can see how we transition from different post-processing and fog settings. So for instance here, this is very foggy, very blurred, but as the shot progresses, at this point we're transitioning and we are making this come into focus, right? And making it less foggy. Then Ori comes into, and we have the light from Ori that can be tweaked, and the trail on him, and all the particle leaves that are coming off him, and all the rain, and all these particles also. So it's basically perfect in terms of how you iterate. It's just there's really no more direct way. And if you work with Unity or any of the cinematic tools like in Unreal, or the tools that exist in the asset store, you'd see how how far along I believe our tool is in terms of tying all of the different systems together in one very streamlined iteration tool. So of course we have some polish to do in terms of optimization, and just streamlining some more things, and making all of the new systems be supported here. But we're taking this really, really far, and then we already have prototypes of actual physical simulation being simulated in a different Unity instance, and allowing to actually adjust not only the Verlet physics, that's our custom physics, but actual Unity physics from PhysX being able to iterate on it and adjust physical setups through the timeline as if they're being animated by the timeline, but really just driving the simulation and previewing it. Or things like AI, we will be able to actually set up the enemy behaviors and tweak the AI of the enemy behaviors and preview how the enemies respond and traverse the environments or fight, right directly in the timeline, and have almost instant iteration time. So no hitting play, waiting, seeing what happens, frame by frame, pixel perfect control over exactly what enemy behaviors and the AI is doing. Just or take a boss fight, send it to the artist and say, or the animators, and make the animations perfect. All of that is all of those crazy opportunities are opening up, and we definitely are pursuing that for the full production of Will of the Wisps, and a lot of these things are already in pretty good prototype stage. So, but here's a little glimpse of the current state and of the cinematic tool and how we used it to create Will of the Wisps teaser. So, absolutely no editing. All of the transitions between shots, the transitions of lighting, the transition of fade to black, fade from black, and the crossfade transitions, all of that is completely supported through timeline. So literally, to record this, all we've done is we've made this timeline tool, or we've made this timeline setup, and then we have a mode in the timeline that allows recording frame by frame, perfect 60 FPS recordings. We just hit play, record it, and you have it. You have your E3 teaser all done in engine with every single bit of editing and polish done right in the engine without ever having to hit play. Really happy with this. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.